Welcome back to the Innovation Room podcast. Today, this is episode 9, and we are going to be moving into part 3 of our State of the Industry series. But first, I'd like to introduce you to my co-hosts, Rhianon Huff and Derek Tobolski.
Hey.
Yes, today we'll be talking about the commercial cleaning industry, and really excited to hear what our special guest today has to say about tips, tricks, and trends for this industry. Looking forward to see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm a really poor cleaner, but I'm excited about this one today. We're going to hear about how COVID has impacted the commercial cleaning industry, what approaches are being taken to combat the spread, and what trends we can expect to see moving into 2021, and then how we can prepare.
In the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about the facility maintenance industry here on the podcast, and we'll probably be mentioning it on other digital platforms that we use as well. This week, we wanted to take an in-depth look at the cleaning and sanitation side of facility maintenance industry. Because of the pandemic, demand for professional cleaning has been extremely high. So this week, we'd like to welcome longtime facility maintenance expert, senior manager of business development at Super Clean Service Company, and chair of the board of Connects Foundation, Miss Amanda Smith. How are you?
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah, we're very glad to have you. And just like we do with our other guests, we hit you with the question right off the bat. So I'm going to ask you, if there's one book you have read that you would recommend to anyone, what would that be?
Oh man, this was such a tough one because obviously it's been a really busy year. So the last book I read was actually Acid for Children. It is written by Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So no self-help or anything here for you guys, just all for fun. But I am a massive Red Hot Chili Peppers fan and a 90s baby, and I love all things musical from the 90s.
I will have to check that one out.
It's quite good. I actually did the Audible, and Flea narrates the whole thing, so then you can kind of feel like you're talking to him.
All right. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about you or your company, Super Clean?
Yes. So I have been with Super Clean for going on 5 years now. We've been around for 40 years. We just celebrated our 40th year this year. We are a commercial cleaning and janitorial company, and we do everything from window washing to daily janitorial, floor care, you name it, we clean it. So we are happy to be here with you guys and happy to do this interview.
Nice. And happy birthday to Super Clean, 40.
Yay.
And you guys have a big old cake and everything?
Oh man, we had so many plans, as I'm sure everyone did this year. So maybe we'll just recycle them next year for 41.
Yes, for sure. Well, let's jump into our first topic. And basically, we want to know how COVID has impacted the commercial cleaning industry from the very beginning. You know, we all got shut down in March. So kind of tell us what happened pre and then right at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. So, we were impacted just like everyone else. Everything came to a screeching halt. Commercial cleaning hasn't always been looked at as a real critical function. And I know a lot of people have kind of echoed this, that, the janitor was mostly unseen, in the corners of the building. And now we've really kind of come front and center and taken, front stage there. So it's been nice to see that transition. Cleaning has always been primarily for the health and safety of the building occupants. And that's something that we as janitorial, companies have always known, but perhaps, for everyone else, it was more about perception and how did the building look, what was the general appearance. So it's nice to see that, again, we're being viewed as professionals more now, more of a skilled trade, definitely something that's necessary to have a well, oiled machine and the best business possible.
Absolutely, for sure. And how did you guys handle that increase in demand? Not only, obviously everybody immediately wanted everything cleaned and disinfected from top to bottom, but also there was a demand, increase in demand for all the products and everything. Did you guys have any issues there?
Yeah, we did. I remember we were at a trade show, all of us earlier this year, and we were kind of like, what's this whole COVID thing? And, we had started hearing, some of those requests from our clients. And then when we came back, it quickly, became an issue. And we really had an influx of new clients needing emergency, cleaning services. So for us, we had to, kind of restructure our team, reallocate, some of our service team to make sure that we could cover those requests. Our sales team was working around the clock, just onboarding new clients. Our account managers were doing a fantastic job of just keeping up. Of course, onboarding as many new people as we could to just keep up with the demand. So really, really proud of our team for everything that they did during that time. And we did see, of course, kinks in the supply chain as well. You mentioned earlier disinfecting wipes. Of course, everybody was looking for it, PPE, all of those different things. We've seen some of that taper off, but there is still some, challenges to getting some of that. We're still working with our chemical suppliers on, shortages that they're having where they may want a minimum order just to guarantee that supply. And we anticipate, that need will continue to rise throughout the remainder of this year and the beginning of next year. So it hasn't quite gone away.
Right.
Still lots of things to consider there.
Talk about adapting and adapting quickly. That's for
Yes,
sure.
ma'am.
Yes. So obviously as things went on, there were protocols, and are you guys constantly keeping up with, those protocols and changing regulations from the government? Was there any really big changes in the beginning that you noticed?
So I think the biggest changes, that we were monitoring were coming out of the CDC and the EPA. So, how do you take care of it, when you do have a COVID contaminated building, and then B, like, what can you use to clean it? And there a lot of discussion around what disinfectants were appropriate and, what weren't. And then, of course, with that shortage, how could you potentially utilize other chemicals that you could mix together on your own, to provide those disinfectants. So, definitely a lot of just constant, scouring of what's going on. We were looking at those websites daily to see, or hourly to see what was changing, because new disinfectants were being added to the list. Even today, I still see, an ever-changing list of how long COVID can live on a surface. Right now they're still saying up to 2 weeks on soft surfaces, so things like clothing, upholstery, things of that nature, where others it might be a couple of days, a week. So it's a lot to keep up with, just in the way of how to clean those items and those surfaces.
It's amazing, to me, for those of us that are not in that industry per se, the things that we take for granted. And that all of a sudden, like you said, you guys became forefront, that need that everybody had. Did you see, most of us saw obviously a decrease in business in the very beginning with the offices shut down and everything. Did you guys see any dip in the very beginning, or was it full blown increase right away when things were actually shut down?
No, we definitely saw a decrease. A great majority of the work that we do is daily janitorial, where we're coming into any type of facility, and just maintaining the overall housekeeping. So we, of course, saw that decline as offices, retailers, restaurants were closing their doors. People were working from home, and so that did decline, and that did come to a halt. But again, we were lucky in that we have actually been providing these, virus disinfectant type cleanings since about the mid 90s. We went through H1N1, back in 2009, 2010. So we were, I want to say, uniquely prepared, perhaps, to some degree, right? Never at this clip, but we did have protocol in place on how to handle that influx of emergency services, since it is something that we kind of, have always offered to our clients.
That's a lot of interesting information and a lot that I didn't know. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
That decrease when this first started was a much needed breather before COVID really hit for you guys. Like we said, we saw some spikes at the beginning of the pandemic, and most places stayed open during that time. But like you said, everything came to a screeching halt. Everyone went into hiding, and then we all started slowly coming back out of our quarantine bubbles. Fast forward a few months, businesses have all reopened. For the most part, they've all reopened. And I would assume janitorial services and commercial cleaners have their work cut out for them. Now that we are hopefully, but sadly, at the spike of this and still open, what approaches are commercial cleaning services like yours implementing to combat the spread and keep up with the demand?
So we're doing a couple of things. One of those options is to implement kind of a disinfecting day porter. So for us, a day porter is someone who would traditionally come in and just clean common areas. So restrooms, break rooms, hallways, lobbies, etc. And so now a part of that is to come in and focus primarily on disinfecting touch points throughout commercial office spaces, distribution centers, even retail locations, areas that are highly trafficked that need to be cleaned and recleaned kind of on a recurring basis as they are open, because there's just so much opportunity, for this virus to continue to spread. Another thing that we've done is, worked with our clients to develop maybe a weekly, bi-weekly, even a monthly program where we would come out and do some general housekeeping, like a deep cleaning of sorts. But again, we would include disinfecting as a part of that process so that, staff can maintain during the times that we're not there, but then we can come through from a, professional approach and really do a deep dive into that cleaning process. Again, just to kind of help mitigate what's going on. Of course, we've also, been utilizing our emergency line quite a lot so that we are there for when the need arises. So certainly have seen an uptick in that as well. One thing that we've done in regards to emergency or urgent needs is to write scopes of work for each end user. And then also something that's specific to the level of clean that's needed. So maybe it's precautionary and, someone had been in the building, but they didn't test positive, but maybe they were by someone that did, or maybe they did have a confirmed COVID-19 in their, in their business, and we need to come in and take the appropriate precautions there. So we've developed, different SOWs for small box versus big box. What does it look like for a retailer versus a restaurateur? Office spaces are unique, in and of themselves. Same thing with warehouses. So really, we try to make sure that we're prepared for any of those potential requests so that we can respond appropriately.
Now, I've heard in the airliners, there's been a lot of electrostatic sprayers. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the sprayers have been around. They're not brand new, but certainly something that's come to the forefront. There's actually quite a few different types of spraying. There's fogging, misting, there's electrostatic, kind of like you mentioned, which a lot of the airliners are doing. There's different UV and thermal, approaches. Basically, they're all different application processes in how to apply the disinfectant. So all different types of, technology and science behind them, and then different cleaning agents or disinfecting agents are used within each one. Certainly we've utilized those. They're definitely a faster, more efficient means of, cleaning all of these surfaces, especially as we look at, 100,000 square foot warehouse or commercial office space where it's not ideal to go through and hand wipe all of those surfaces. One nice thing is that we have seen some of those costs come down recently as more competitors enter the market for these sprayers. We will see some of that demand come down and some of that price and costing as well.
That's great. Hopefully they do. And I can't help it. I'm sitting here at my own desk at home. Fortunately enough, we can do our jobs remote, but I can't help but start thinking about it, how this would be if we were still in the office, what kind of changes and, adaptations we'd have to make. So I can't help but ask, for standard office spaces, how often would you recommend it be cleaned or disinfected?
So it's kind of a tricky question, right? So there are a lot of different factors to consider. What type of tenant space is this? We classify buildings A, B, or C. What's the square footage? How many people are inside of it? All, different measures that can help us identify how often they should be cleaned. For example, a 50,000 square foot data center may not need to be cleaned as often as, the same size of call center. The latter, a call center, is more than likely open 5 to 7 days a week. They have round the clock shifts. They would probably require the same amount of cleaning, so 5 to 7 nights a week, perhaps a rotating day porter, just to consider the density of people that are inside that same amount of, 50,000 square feet. Whereas a data center, would be primarily IT rooms and racks of servers and, different closets and what we would consider dark space, where people aren't inhabiting those areas. There's not a lot of foot traffic in and out of there, and not a lot of opportunity to bring in any type of contamination. So maybe they can be done weekly, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. A lot of times, we have to rely on our clients' expectation of what they want and what they have the budgets for.
So moving into 2021, which is my favorite part because we get to forecast and try to predict the future, what kinds of trends do you see in the janitorial cleaning space?
So I think we're going to continue to see an increased demand for outsourced janitorial, as people continue to look to us for our expertise. I think that businesses should really be prepared for budgets to increase potentially long term. I know we've felt that effect throughout this year, but I think that will continue into 2021 and possibly beyond. So, we've been consulting with a lot of new and existing clients on how they can customize and optimize their recurring cleaning programs in order to allocate funds more wisely and balance out the costs that, now you messed me up. In order to allocate those costs more wisely and in order for them to balance out some of the budgets that have been upended this year. Some of our companies are continuing to invest in new technologies, and mostly that's in order for us as commercial cleaners to track our compliance, monitor our scopes of work, really more IVR, more data, more reporting. We've seen some asset tagging in the janitorial space, similar to what we've seen in restaurants. And then just really smart checklists in order for us to do our inspections.
That's great. So do you believe this also has provided you maybe more opportunities to educate the different industries that you work within? So then maybe even when this is all over, 2021, 2022, hopefully not 2022, but you'll have more of an opportunity to have continual services moving on to make sure that everything stays clean, sanitized, disinfected, whatever their need may be.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, certainly done a lot of education on the differences between cleaning, between sanitizing, between disinfecting, and how to share that responsibility between the staff within the building and the outsourced provider, so that we can come up with, a program and a partnership that works for everyone. Again, we learned some of the customizing, right, and the optimizing back in the recession in 2008, 2009, when everyone said, we need help, we have no more money, or money is thin. How can we still have cleaning but do it more efficiently? And so we're seeing a huge uptick in that now as well. So we're really educating folks on, how to be as efficient as possible within their cleaning programs. And I think that everyone should be looking at that, as opposed to just arbitrarily applying some kind of program, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, et cetera. I know there's a lot of break fix stuff out there, but what can we do to utilize those dollars as efficiently as possible?
Great. Do you also believe maybe this has opened up new spaces into industries that you weren't in before? I know my favorite new industry to look at with the recent legislation that's passed for cannabis is, the cannabis industry is spreading across the country now to where it's going to be legal in all states. But I feel like there probably were a lot of places that didn't really utilize a cleaning service maybe as much as they should have or at all, and are now opening that up to a new opportunity for you guys to grow your business. Have you guys explored any of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually started, I want to say a year, 2 years ago, with a couple of different cannabis clients. Certainly there's a medical approach there that needs to be taken, and, they're recognizing that their cleaning programs are a part of that as well, as it relates to disinfecting and then just general cleanliness. And of course, we've seen a lot of different spaces, maybe take more consideration into cleaning than have been in years past. And certainly we've tried to capitalize on those opportunities. So everyone, I think, is, diversifying, their interests and who they're helping with these programs. And I think right now there is endless potential to who can be cleaning better than they were yesterday. We really have put a focus on that didn't previously exist.
Great. Let's breed some competition, get some people to clean better than everyone else, So this is one of my favorite parts, because for the listeners who have made it all the way through this and hopefully gain lots of useful information, you get to now give them your best tip and what's your number one thing in 2021 that you would suggest they could do to keep their facility clean and safe.
I think definitely developing those partnerships and having a strategic partner is paramount to having a clean building, being able to react, when an emergency need does arise. I would really, really push them to put backups in place if they don't already have existing vendor partners as a backup. Again, especially for that emergency work. There is an influx of requests and of need out there, and there is the potential that even the best vendor may or may not be able to get there for you on time. So really start tracking those individuals, who is the most compliant, who, is the most cost efficient, and really prioritizing those vendors that are taking, good care of you accordingly, I think will help FMs, go a long way. The world is still changing every day, and the environment that we live in. And so we've all hopefully learned to be a lot more adaptable, and I think that it's important to have those solid relationships in place so that you are working, within those programs, within those needs, and those partnerships to get strategic and pivot and make changes as needed. Everything tends to be a short-term program right now, or need or update. And so you really need to have those relationships in place to carry you through.
Absolutely. Well, Amanda, I hate to do this to you, but I'm pretty sure I need to go clean my entire office right now. But seriously, thank you so much for laying some knowledge on us about this topic and what has been going on in your world for the past year. And really, we thank you for what you do and for helping keep this world a little bit cleaner right now.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And we're excited to be a part of this and part of your show, and happy to educate everyone on, the janitor and all his different jobs.
Well, thank you.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for episode 9. That was really fun talking to Amanda, and can't wait for next time.
Next time, we will be talking about the facility maintenance industry, the trends, and regards to the operation side. So looking forward to talking and diving a little bit deeper.
As usual, if you like us, hate us, want to say hi, or just want to give us a little karate chop, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I hit my mic.